Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is get your pot on the stove. My pot is filled with water about halfway, and I've added some chicken bouillon to that. And then you can use any box mac and cheese. I'm just using Cracker Barrel because it was on sale. Please don't feel pressure to spend money on the Cracker Barrel. You can use the Velveeta, the Kraft, the generic, whatever is on sale or whatever you prefer. And I go ahead and I mix that in with 1 cup of plain noodles, and I give that a stir. And then once my noodles were done, I went ahead and I drained all the water. Do not rinse it. And I just returned it to the same pot. I added a half stick of melted butter to my pot and also a half package of softened cream cheese. You want to add the cream cheese while the noodles are still hot. As we start to add more liquids, it will cool off. So go ahead and get that cream cheese in there early. And then you're going to go ahead and give that a good mix until it is nice and dissolved into the pasta.
Where would you like to go? Maybe we'll drive from coast to coast, only to where we love the most. I'm taking you to paradise, paradise. You know where we're going tonight, going tonight. Paradise, paradise. I'm taking you to paradise, paradise. I don't even care about the price, care about the price, yeah. Paradise, paradise. I'm taking you.
And then to that, I added about a 1/4 cup of sour cream. If you do not have any sour cream, it is perfectly fine to omit it.
Anywhere's home when you're with me. Come and take a seat next to me, babe.
Next, you're going to add the cheese sauce that came with your pasta.
Break from my old ways, 'cause I'm taking you to paradise, paradise. You know where we're going tonight, going tonight. Paradise, paradise. I'm taking you to paradise, paradise. I don't even care about the price, care about the price, yeah. Paradise, paradise.
And then you're going to need about 24 ounces of shredded cheese. I am using 8 ounces of sharp, 8 ounces of Swiss, and 8 ounces of Wisconsin sharp. You can use any kind of cheese you want. I personally would recommend you at least use at least 8 ounces of the Swiss because it definitely gives a nice depth to the macaroni, and also some sharp cheddar. So at least 8 ounces of Swiss, at least 8 ounces of sharp, and then 8 ounces of whatever you prefer. It can be pepper jack, it can be Kobe jack, whatever you want. And then once you have your cheese all mixed together in a bowl, we're going to go ahead and get our pasta ready to add our cheese. I added about a half of a cup of whole milk. After that, I am going to add about half of that cheese that we mixed together. I mixed them all together so I wouldn't have patches of cheese, one flavor cheese in different parts of the pasta. So you mix all the cheese together so everything will be nice and blended.
I wanna feel that summer feel, but I don't wanna go if you ain't with me. Let's make a home, be all alone. So tell me, baby, where would you like to go? Maybe we'll drive from coast to coast, only to where we love the most. I'm taking.
And then we're going to go ahead and get this seasoned up. I have some dry parsley. If you have fresh parsley, please, by all means, use that. But I'm cooking almost every day. I'm not keeping fresh parsley on hand all day, realistically. Also, we're going to go ahead and add some garlic powder, some onion powder, of course, the granulated, the coarse ground black pepper. You want to season to taste on this. I say start with about a half teaspoon each and then adjust as you go along. You will not see me adding any salt right now because we did cook the pasta in the chicken bouillon flavored water, and the chicken bouillon can be salty. So do not add any salt until you've added all of your other seasonings. Once you've added all of your seasonings and gave that a good mix, you want to taste it, and then you can add your salt and adjust your seasonings according to taste. Now, you want your season to be a little bit heavier than you want the final product, because once we add in the rest of the cheese and the milk, it's going to dilute the flavor. So make it just a tinge stronger than you want your final macaroni to taste like.
Care about the price, yeah. Paradise, paradise. I'm taking you. Come and take a seat next to me, babe. Let this pretty view take your breath away. Baby, we deserve a break from our old ways. Anywhere's home when you're with me. Come and take a seat next to me, babe. Let this pretty view take your breath away. Baby, we deserve a break from our old ways. 'Cause I'm taking you to paradise, paradise. You know where we're going tonight, going tonight.
And then once the flavor is where we want it to be, we're going to go ahead and get everything in our pan. This is like a 9-inch cast iron skillet. I went ahead and just brushed the bottom with some butter just to keep the macaroni from sticking. You're going to go ahead and add half of your macaroni mixture to your skillet. Go ahead and spread it out so it's nice and even. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you do kind of want it to be flat so you do have enough space for everything. And then the rest of the cheese that we have left, you're going to add half of that to your pasta. So remember, of the 3 packs, you mix them together. You're going to add half to the noodles in the pot, and then you have another half left. You're going to add half of that half to your first layer of your macaroni noodles, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to pour some whole milk across the top. I say that was about 3/4 cup, just kind of just loosely spread across the top of the cheese. For the second layer, you're going to do a little bit different. Instead of you pouring your milk on top of the shredded cheese, you are going to lay your second layer of your noodles down and then pour the milk on top of that, and then the final layer of cheese. That way you won't have that milk sitting on the top of your top layer. And then I didn't add as much milk on my top layer. I added, I would say, maybe a little under half of cup for my top layer, because there is a good amount on the bottom layer. You don't want to overdo it with the milk. So I say about 3/4 cup for the bottom and a little under half a cup for the top. That's provided you use the same size pan that I'm using.
About the price, yeah. Paradise, paradise. I'm taking you.
And because I want a nice brown crust, I'm going to add some pats of butter on the top. Yes, I said pats of butter on the top. If you're eating this type of macaroni and cheese, you're not worried about being healthy. So go on and have your macaroni and cheese the way you want it, and worry about the calories later.
Maybe we'll drive from coast to coast, only to where we love the most. I'm taking you to paradise, paradise. You know where we're going tonight, going tonight. Paradise, paradise.
And then I just added some coarse ground black pepper to the top and a little bit of paprika before I put it in the oven. You're going to bake this for 25 minutes, 400 degrees in the oven. It should look like this once it's done.
Take a seat next to me, babe. Let this pretty view take your breath away. Baby, we deserve a break from our old ways. Anywhere's home when you're with me. Come and take a seat next to me, babe. Let this pretty view take your breath away. Baby,
I know I love a good crust. Listen to this. And I'll go ahead and plate this up so you can see the inside. Now, I know, of course, from scratch macaroni and cheese is the best, but if you want that same taste and feeling, but you don't want to go through the whole process of making macaroni and cheese from scratch, you better go ahead and hook up that box macaroni and cheese and call it a day. It is good, and nobody will never know if you don't tell them. Look at that macaroni and cheese. Creamy, crusty, cheesy. Yes.